Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm here today with longtime friend and colleague Cheryl Brewster, who has been a intuitive consultant since 2004, a long time,
Mhm.
and had a business and corporate background before, and followed her calling as an intuitive consultant, and recently is also, as of 3 years ago, an ordained minister. So thank
Mhm.
you, Cheryl, for bringing yourself and sharing with us your great wisdom and years of experience in this industry of
Mhm.
light holders and light sharers. And as an intuitive consultant, what have you experienced intuition to be for yourself and your clients? And when you first came into this field, what were your kind of expectations of it, and what have you discovered
Mhm.
since about intuition?
Great questions. And and first of all, really good to connect with you again after all these years. And just I really appreciate and acknowledge where we both have gone with our intuition, because certainly it's a profound experience to live intuitively.
Yes.
So in 2004, yes, I founded the Intuitive Life, and it was a calling. It was as if something came over me, literally, and it was so compelling that I had to listen. So I came into my work kicking and screaming the whole way, uh, because it was out of the norm in many ways. It's one thing to be intuitive, which is natural, but it's another thing for that intuition to say, "Hey, come over here and do this," when it's totally against a lot of the conditioning or ideas we've had about life. So going in, and as much as I went in kicking and screaming the whole way, it was very exciting and, of course, very rewarding, because it was like, wow, like this stuff is real. It really works. And I remember when I was first training to professionally, um, I would get so nervous before I started. I'd just want to, just like literally vomit, because I get so nervous. And I knew I was making progress, because after over time, I didn't want to do that till after the reading. And then,
Mm,
because of the confirmation that would come through in the readings, it would be, well, why would I be afraid to do this?
right.
And I think in many ways, that's what's going on now with, and I'm going to switch to COVID here as I answer this question. When I first got certified as a professional intuitive, I did it for the joy of discovery. I did it for the joy of all this potential that was amazing to discover. And that when we go into intuition and meditation, we have all these little gems and nuggets that come forward. What I've learned since then, and my definition of intuition now, would be more of, I would say, energy management,
Mm,
where intuition is this knowing. And now I feel that it's an active knowing, which in other words is, how am I managing my energy? Am I taking the action that I know I need to take? And if I'm not, to give myself space to go deeper and to understand. So I work with a lot of clients. Most of my clients are thought leaders, change makers, visionaries, who already work with their intuition,
mm-hmm.
who already are very successful in business and wanting to grow and expand.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. The kicker is that there is a shift of consciousness taking place that we have known has been coming for such a long time. And as much as you know it's coming or it's here, it's another matter to navigate it. And so,
Skillfully.
yes,
Yeah.
skillfully, and to give ourselves the space to honor the emotions that come up. So
Right.
it's very much about, you know um, emotional intelligence. But intuition, in my definition today, would be this grand calling to hold this space from a place of joy, which means that even in the midst of crisis, there can be a joy because you know that you can handle what's here. There's a part of you that may not feel that way, but intuition to me is this greater presence and knowingness that we tap into that gives us the strength that we need to ride the wave, be courageous, step in and take the action. And of course, it's finessed over time. So that's kind of a long-winded answer to your question, but
You mentioned that you help empower people through extraordinarily challenging
mhm,
uh, moments or events.
mhm,
So, how does that look in? Because a lot of these people are the thought leaders, are the
mhm,
visionaries, and they're navigating these extraordinarily challenging
mhm,
events, either personally or
mhm,
professionally within an organizational context, the
mhm,
growing pains of growing a business
mhm.
or organization, or their own families, or overcoming an adversity. What does it look like for you to guide them towards their own intuition? How does that process look when they're in survival mode?
Yeah. Well,
And you're seeing so much more
yes,
for them.
yes. Uh, how it works is there's a depth of uh, wisdom that each soul comes in with, and each soul has a contract. And thought leaders and visionaries they're pretty much on target with that contract, I would say. Most
Ooh,
most most who
nicely
are
said. Yeah, so
yeah.
true. So true. Yep.
So it's so exciting to work with them because it's like, okay, they know. And it's like, uh, we all have areas that we can't see for ourselves. So when we can have someone else come along and say, well, have you thought of it this way? Right? Uh, so for example, uh, the uh, thought leaders that know, but they also know they're going to another level.
Mm.
And so we all need support. None of us does this work alone.
You mentioned that. You mentioned visionaries and thought leaders need support too.
Hmm.
They're often the lone wolves, but they need people like yourself, or they need
Yeah,
guides. They need, yeah, support and mentors.
yeah. So just like my strength is not technology,
Hmm.
and I'm so grateful when someone comes along with technology and says, "Here, just do it this way,"
Yeah.
right? And it's like, "Oh, thank you." So what I do then is when we are in the midst of what I would say these energy vortexes that are changing,
Hmm.
and and we're still biological beings, and so working with visionaries and thought leaders that are so committed to living their purpose is an extraordinary experience because I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things, and to be able to the gift of being able to translate that in a way that they can understand, and at the same time work with the energy in such a way that they begin to have an experience with me and go on their own journey with me. So I think that's where intuition is really powerful in the way that I love to work with it is let's have an experience together. So it's not just about me giving information or doing a reading. And it's really powerful. It's really profound. And so to be able to shift energy that quickly
Mm.
and then be able to come back again in another session and go, wow, and then see the role that synchronicity plays.
Yeah.
And then to recognize, you know what, this as much as we know this is a waking dream, but to be able to have a conversation with someone in real time, physically, spiritually, emotionally, in all ways. It's such an honoring of this co-creation that we were talking about earlier. We are co-creating together, and
You
how
just
it's
you just
how
define
it's
free will right there. Like through your
yeah,
work, through the work that people like yourself provide, it's like you can shave off years of wandering the desert.
yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
Wow. And that's the beauty of people coming together too, as you say, the synergy of people coming together and quickening. It's not about time. It's more about like, okay, within this one lifetime, more can be experienced.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
yeah, the potential and possibility is so much more when,
Hmm.
yeah. Do you have an example of like where you've seen, something could have gone a certain way,
Hmm.
and then through this co-creation, it even blew your uh, not expectations, but your readings out of the water? Like you were so amazed at how collective synergy worked in that situation.
Yeah. Let me put some thought into that because there's so many. I'm trying to think of an example that's uh, there's there's one person I've been working with for several years, and it was such a delight to work with her because she was so open, and
Hmm.
she would follow through. Like if stuff would come through, she'd follow through, and
So she'd take the actions
she'd
that
take the action.
not just the insights. Got
Yeah,
it.
she
Yeah.
would take the action, and
Mm.
and the phone calls I would get of the synchronicities that would occur, uh, and the absolute, like, you cannot argue with this stuff,
Mm.
with the synchronicities that would occur, such that literally her mind was blown. My mind is blown. There were so many examples. I'm trying to think of one in particular. There's so many, um, but here's the thing: when someone is that keen and that eager, the the return in investment is there for them. Their soul came in to do something, and when they listen and they get a big sign back, it's like, okay. And and it, the only way I can describe it is that we, in many ways, are really living a science fiction movie and
Mm.
creating these amazing possibilities. And what
Wow.
I'm so excited about with COVID right now is that, as difficult as this is for many people, and I use the Tonglen breath, uh, and this is something good, I think, for all of us to be doing. We as thought leaders are rising up in our own vibration, and so anything less than love is going to be revealed. And
Mm.
so emotionally, we're going to let it pass through. But if we can use the breath and do that on behalf of the planet, I have found that very powerful. And so working with thought leaders, when I bring that to them and suggest to them, okay, you know the difference that you want to make in the world on behalf of the planet, this fear or this struggle that you're having right now, will you let that go on behalf of the planet?
Mm. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What would you say to a thought leader or a spiritual seeker or a trailblazer who's really wrestling with their own fears? Not that fears can be overcome. Everyone will have them
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of their
Mm-hmm.
lives. But
Yeah.
what do you say to someone who is um, handicapped, experiencing a handicap, experiencing a form of sabotage by fear?
Mm-hmm.
What are your what does your tool bag reveal for? I understand that it would be very individualistic as per
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
their individual fear is, but as you describe fear as a vibration below love, what
Mm-hmm.
What's the message behind fear, and what wisdom can we reap from the message?
I think the message behind fear is a really powerful one. And I like to think of fear as being that um, smoke detector saying, hey, you just come back home again. And I think fear is the part of us that is healing, the part of us that's
Hmm. Yeah,
wanting to come back home, but doesn't know how.
got it.
And I find, from day one, I would encourage my clients to use the ABCs of intuition: aware, breathe, connect to the heart. Because when we go through these fear cycles or waves, it's like we forget everything we know,
Yes, we do.
and we're adrift at sea. And the reason I'm so good at this, the reason I'm such a good so good at what I do, is because, believe me, the fear that I have wrestled my entire life, and to be able to come at the end of the day and be able to say, I see you, and it's okay. It's okay. And yeah, yeah. So
Wow. What's your favorite memory or event uh, of an event that you have ordained or been a minister for?
wow. Well, there's so many.
Hmm.
I think uh,
Is it just for marriage, or is it for other ceremonies as
it's it,
well?
yeah, it's for marriage, and
It's for
it's
marriage. Okay.
also and also for a celebration of life, end of life.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Um, they each have their own unique flavor and resonance, but I have to say it's being together with people, and when I start speaking, and especially if I'm using the singing bowls to gather people together. And I think this happens very much in weddings, for sure. Just the sense of joy and love and laughter and connection and commitment. But I have to say, it's in the celebrations of life where it really hits home. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really hits home. And
yeah.
so the ability to be able to bring people together into a place of honoring, uh, even in the loss and through the loss, is very, very sacred, very special, very, very powerful. And one of the last celebrations of life I officiated was just this beautiful woman. I had the pleasure of meeting her before she passed on. And I tell you, she was extraordinary. She was a mover and a shaker, and she was a thought leader. And in the middle of the service, I was speaking, and then when this car alarm went off, and we had to, I said, there's
There
or
she
someone said,
is.
there she is. And it was true. It was just, you could feel, and everyone in the room erupted into laughter, right?
That's perfect. Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. The impact the
yeah,
impact we make is wow.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. People can find you at theintuitivelife.com. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
A pleasure to be here with you today. Thanks, Elena.